The Varaha Upanishad, presented by Svayam Prakash Sharma, Part 7. This is the concluding part of the Varaha Upanishad, in which the sage Ribhu concludes his discourse on the rules to be observed during the practice of yoga. This part contains the remaining verses of chapter 5, from verse number 37 to verse number 75. The Upanishad. Taking his discourse on the rules to be observed in the practice of yoga towards conclusion, Ribhu tells Nigad, by checking Bindu in the path, by making fire flame up in the water, and by causing the water to dry up, by these three means the body is made firm. Contract the anus and the yoni or womb simultaneously, united together. Then draw up Apan and unite it with Saman. Then you should contemplate upon your Atma, first as Shiv and then as being bathed by nectar. In the central part of each spoke, the yogi should begin to concentrate bal, which is will or strength. The yogi should try to go up by the union of pran and apan. This is the most important yoga, and it brightens up the path of siddhis in the body. Just as a dam across the water serves as an obstacle to the floods, in much the same way, the chaya of the body is an obstacle to the jeev. All the yogis ought to know this. This bandh is said to be of all the nadis. Through the grace of this bandh, the devata, the goddess, becomes visible. This bandh is of 4 feet and it serves as a check to the 3 paths. This bandh brightens up the path through which the siddhas obtain their siddhis. If, along with pran, udan is made to rise up soon, then this bandh, checking all the nadis, goes up. This is called Samput Yog or Mool Bandh. Through the practice of this yoga, the 3 bandhs are mastered. By intermittently practicing day and night or at any convenient time, the Vayu will come under the control of the practicing yogi. With the control of Vayu, Agni, the gastric fire in the body, will increase daily. And with the increase of gastric fire, food etc. will be easily digested. And when food is properly digested, then there is an increase in ras. Then there is an increase in the essence of food. With the daily increase of ras or essence of food, there is the increase of dhatus or spiritual substances in the body. With the increase of dhatus or spiritual substances in the body, there is an increase of wisdom in the body. And with the increase of wisdom in the body, all the sins that have accumulated during many crores of births, all those sins are burnt up. In the center of the anus and the genitals, there is the triangular shaped Mooladhara. This Mooladhara illuminates the seat of Shiva, of the form of Bindu. There is located the Parashakti, named Kundalini. From that seat, Vayu rises. From that seat, Agni becomes increased. From that seat, Bindu originates and Nad becomes increased. From that seat, Hans is born. From that seat, mind is born. The 6 chakras, beginning with the Mooldhara chakra, are said to be the seat of Shakti, are said to be the seat of the goddess. From the neck to the top of the head is said to be the seat of Shambhu or Shiv. For the nadis, the body is the support or the vehicle. For Pran, Naris are the support or the vehicle. For Jeev, Pran is the dwelling place. For Hans, Jeev is the support. For Shakti, Hans is the seat, as well as the locomotive and fixed universe. A person should practice pranayam without distraction and with a calm mind. Even a person who is well skilled in the practice of the 3 bandhs, even such a person should always, with a true heart, try to know and understand that principle, understand that Brahm, which Brahm should be known and which Brahm is the cause of all objects and their attributes. Both the out-breath and the in-breath should be stopped and made to rest in the restraint of breath alone. The yogi should depend solely on Brahm, which is the highest aim of all visibles. The giving out of all external objects is said to be rechak or expiration or breathing out. The taking in of the spiritual knowledge of the Shastras is said to be purak or inspiration or breathing in. And the retaining within oneself of all such spiritual knowledge of the Shastras is said to be kumbhak or restraint of breath. The person who practices such a chit in this way, he is an emancipated person. There is no doubt about this whatsoever. It is through kumbhak alone that the mind should always be raised up. And it is through kumbhak alone that the mind should be filled up within. It is only through kumbhak that kumbhak should be firmly mastered. Within it is Param Shiv. That Vayu, which is non-motionless, that Vayu should be shaken again through the Kant Mudra or through the throat posture. A person should check the course of Vayu. He should become perfect in the practice of expiration. He should become perfect in the practice of breathing out. And he should become perfect in the restraint of breath. Having done so, he should plant his 2 hands and 2 feet evenly on the ground, and then he should pierce the 4 seats through Vayu, through the 3 yogas. He should shake Mahameru with the aid of prakotis or forces at the mouth of Vayu. The 2 putas or cavities being drawn, then Vayu throbs quickly. The union of moon, sun and Agni should be known on account of nectar. They should all be known as nectar. Through the motion of Meru, the devatas who stay in the center of Meru, those devatas move. At first, in the Brahm Granthi of the yogi, a whole of passage is soon produced. Then, having pierced the Brahma Granthi, the yogi pierces the Vishnu Granthi, and then he pierces the Rudra Granthi. Then to the yogi comes Ved of piercing through his liberation from the impurities of delusion, through the religious ceremonies performed in his various previous births, through the grace of the Gurus and the Devatas, and through the practice of yoga. Through all these means, the yogi comes to piercing and comes to liberation. In the mandal, in the sphere, or in the region of the Sushumna Nadi that is situated between the Ida and the Pingala Nadis, Vayu should be made to rise up through the feature known as Mudra Bandh. The short pronunciation of the Pranav Om frees a person from all his sins, while the long pronunciation of the Pranav Om confers moksha on the person. The pronunciation of the Pranav Om in Apyayan or Plut Swar or tone also confers moksha on a person. He is a knower of Ved who, through the above mentioned three ways of pronunciation, knows the end of Pranav Om, which is beyond the power of speech and which is like the never ceasing flow of oil, or which is like the long drawn sound of the bell. The short swar goes to Bindu. The long swar goes to Brahmanandra. The Plut swar goes to Devasant, or the 12th center. The mantras should be recited for the purpose of getting mantra siddhis. This Pranav Om will remove all obstacles. It will remove all sins. Of this Pranav, there are four bhumikas or states that are predicated, namely the Arambha state, the Ghat state, the Parichaya state, and the Nishpatti state. Now these will be described. The Arambha state is that state in which a person, having abandoned external karams performed by the three organs of the mind, of speech, and of the body, is always engaged in mental karam only. It is said by the wise that the Ghat state is that state in which Vayu, having forced an opening on the western side and being full, is firmly fixed there. The Parichaya state is that state in which Vayu is firmly fixed to Akash, neither being associated with Jeev nor not being associated with Jeev, while the body is immovable. And it is said that Nishpatti state is that state in which creation and dissolution take place through the Atma, or it is said that state in which a yogi, having become a Jivan Mukt, having gained salvation, performs yoga without effort. Whosoever recites this Upanishad, he becomes immaculate like Agni. He becomes pure like Vayu. He becomes freed from the sin of drinking alcohol. He becomes freed from the sin of stealing gold. He becomes a Jivan Mukt. This is what is said by the Rig Ved. Like the eye that pervades the Akash and that sees everything without effort from above, a wise man also always sees the supreme seat of Vishnu. The Brahmins, those who are knows of Brahm, those who always have their spiritual eyes wide open, those Brahmins praise and illuminate in diverse ways the spiritual seat of Vishnu. Yes, the Brahmins who always have their spiritual eyes wide open, those Brahmins praise and illuminate in diverse ways the spiritual seat of Vishnu. Om, this is what the Upanishad is. Yes, this is what the Upanishad is. This concludes the 5th chapter of the Varaha Upanishad, and this also concludes the Varaha Upanishad. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om.